There's an association with Leeds Spirits. I'm May.
Hello, I'm Colin.
Good evening. I'm John.
How are you both doing this evening?
I'm all right. I'm better than I was yesterday. I had a bit of, got a bit of a man flu. They call it man flu. Can I call it man flu? I've got four women that live in this house with me, and they've all had a cold, and then I've caught it. So I don't know if it's the proper flu because if they've had it, then I get it, or if mine's is just worse because I'm a man. I don't know, but I wasn't great yesterday, so didn't make it to the game. So interested to hear what happened. But I am better than I was yesterday.
And did they look for as much sympathy as you looked for? I think that's what the differentiator
Mate,
is. So if they were worse than you and you had the flu and you're fine, if they were all kind of just got on with it and you were like in your bed going, oh fucking somebody get me a cup of tea, then you had
nah.
man flu. I think that's how it works.
I'm not allowed to do that. So I didn't even try anywhere. Like I did get up yesterday, but I didn't move this couch that I'm sitting on. I was lying on all day and I watched, I don't know, three games back to back. And then like it was I watched their wee team for England today. Absolutely fucking hammer Newcastle. And then I moved on to I couldn't watch the Hibs game, right? Which I kind of
Yeah,
half knew, but I thought I was hoping against hope it might be available, wasn't it? And then so I watched Liverpool and then I watched the Arsenal game with a wee bit of rugby at the same time.
fair
So
enough.
that was my day.
So you're on questions. You like basically we'll hand over to you to ask the questions. John and I were both there. John, how are you? How are you doing? We were in hospitality yesterday. Just want to, I suppose, give a wee shout out to um. There was a wee situation at the start there when we went in, which we weren't expecting. So obviously with the I'll not go into
Lauren,
the details.
Lauren,
Uh, Lauren, thank you. Um,
We
Lauren,
think it's Lauren,
we
maybe
think it's
Louise, maybe Laura, could be.
the
Lauren.
source is the source
Lauren,
put that in doubt.
Lauren helped us with we're getting fresh tickets and a new table for the hospitality. Uh, and between her and Martin, they both sorted out the situation very professionally, very calmly. Got a good outcome for everybody, I think. So I just want to give them a shout out, but Lauren especially because she listens. And so, uh, hello, Lauren. Thanks for
And
listening. And
hope
thanks for
and
sorting
we
us
hope
out.
that and we hope that's your name.
Yeah,
Based on
well, but it's
who
like, yeah, with Barry told us, obviously I can't remember names, right? We've covered this before. Barry told us, but Barry also announced Cowden Beef making subs yesterday. So I don't know I don't know if I can trust the information. So if we've got it wrong, Lauren, you can hit Barry. That's what he told us. Anyway, John, I was in the middle of asking you how you were, and then I just jumped into talking about other stuff.
Ah, it's fine. I'm okay. Just a regular Sunday.
Fair dues. Right, Colin, I'll put the starting line up on the
aye.
screen, and you can quiz us on it. Let me
And
just
I'll put my glasses on my head so I can read it. Because fuck me, these eyes are getting worse. Worse
uh,
and worse and worse by the day.
worse and worse by the day. Let me find out what one of the wee applications at the bottom. Here we go.
What did you think of the
Uh,
team, John? Before he gets while he gets it up, what was your thoughts?
I was a wee bit surprised. The thing is, see, actually, like looking at the lineup doesn't help me because then I need to start
Aye.
mentally imagining where they
I
fitted
know.
on the pitch.
It's this fucking
Um,
numerical order thing, eh? It's
aye.
annoying as fuck.
Like I think when we talked about it in the previous show, I'd suggested that we wanted to go win the game first half and then start making some changes second half. However, given that the opposition that we were playing against are six tiers below us, I can understand why Kaharovic started because he's not played recently. He's hopefully going to be a valuable member of the squad for the remainder of the season. Molotnikov came back from injury. He was playing, I think, out on the left-hand side. The other change, I think, was did Miller? Yeah, Miller started. So I think that threw me for a loop to begin with when I saw the starting lineup because I was trying to work out where him and O'Hara were going to play. And see, even thinking back to it now, I'm not 100% sure. I think Miller was playing right midfield and O'Hara was playing right of a back three. But someone correct me if I'm wrong.
that was pretty much how it went. Did you think, John, that the team was strong enough? That was a conversation before, when we were doing the preview, but we were sort of asking about whether we start with like the strongest 11 or whether David Gray would mix it up.
Well, when we were walking down to the game for the train station, I'd mentioned that I'd been reading some of the Observer articles, and one of them was David Gray. He was talking about the lineup, and he mentioned that he was going to put out a strong. There was going to be some changes, but it would be a strong team, and I think that's fair based on what we saw. Actually, just looking at the lineup now, it's got Rocky listed there.
Rocky
Was there
played the
a
first half.
late? Did he?
Aye.
Oh, so he did. Sorry. You're right.
Hospitality good then, was it? Aye.
I think those 4 whiskey and ginger ales must have blocked out some brain cells.
I thought the lineup was all right. Probably just the right side of a strong enough team. Like there was enough players in there that had been playing week in, week out. I was a wee bit interested with the Levitt and Quan combination in the middle, more so because they both have featured quite a bit recently, but not together. If I remember right, I don't think we've had I don't think we've had them both on the pitch for certainly not for any length of time.
Yeah,
Uh,
sort of replace each other, eh? That's
aye,
the
that's it. So you normally have one or the other on. So I wasn't sure how that would work out. And then it was good to see Molotnikov back in the team and Kukrevich coming back in as well. Like we'll talk about his performances as we go, no doubt. And I didn't necessarily think he had a great game, but it's good to have that option back on the pitch. Hoyle getting a start as well. Like he's a first team player, so I don't think we're necessarily weakening the team with having him go in. So I was all right with it.
yeah. That's what when I was looking at it, I thought it's still quite a strong team. I was just again doing the thing with the cloudy brain, trying to work out what fucking position and formation it was because hey, they're not in that order. But aye, it was good to Molotnikov getting a run because we're all keen to see him develop, aren't we?
No, definitely, especially like he's obviously well thought of at the club because they've just given him a new contract.
Yeah,
And I don't know if you caught any of the pre-match interviews. See, he did the press on Thursday or Friday, whatever day it was, and was talking about the conversations David Gray's had with him in the club, having that sort of faith in him to go and progress. So it'd be good for him to be back out in the grass and playing first team football as well. But I thought he had a really good game, and it was good to see him back.
I've got a 10 years link with his dad. I crossed paths with him at rugby. His dad played rugby. A good number of years ago when I was a youngster. Anyway,
Aye,
and
I
his big
tell you
sister
what,
was at school with my daughter. So there you go. Loads of links. Thick
loads
in
of
the boy,
links.
thick
Aye,
in the
you
family. But
pretty much pals.
Mm.
Lewis Gilly on the subs bench was the other one. Like when we got a team sheet in the hospitality, and we were kind of scratching our heads to say like who's this boy coming in like as a new signing or a young boy. But um, again, I suppose if you can't give a youngster an opportunity in a game like this, when can you do it? So I thought it
yes.
was good to see him
Uh,
included on it as well.
It was one that nobody really mentioned before, eh?
Mm.
You hear about the young guys and that, and it's not one. But I suppose he's a defensive player, and who talks about defenders, eh?
Nah,
Really?
they never
You know
catch the
what I mean?
headlines, do they?
No,
The subs,
no.
I thought the subs bench was pretty interesting, especially second half as more of the changes came through because we saw Amos come on and I think he replaced Levitt. Levitt had a good game. Amos did well when he came on, but as you mentioned earlier, you had Lewis Gillian there. This isn't a criticism of Lewis Gillian in any way. It's more like the players that didn't feature on the bench that raised more of an eyebrow and what that meant in the remaining days of January before the transfer window closes.
Are you referring to like say Harry McCurdy, John?
Aye, absolutely. Because like that, I think there was a few folk on Twitter before the game were suggesting that this might be an opportunity to see the famous, I don't know if it's famous or infamous Archer's pose.
I think it's fabled at this point, isn't it? Like it's
Fabled,
nobody's seen it
the
to
lesser
tell if it
seen.
actually is true.
And yeah, I wonder if that means it's a strange one because Amos was on LinkedIn and he had himself open to work and he was talking about new opportunities, etc. And then he features against Clydebank, and I'm hopeful that that's maybe an example of his professionalism that he still wants to be involved and he still wants to get some game time under his belt and he's still trying to
At the end of the day, he
uh,
has to do it. Do what you get told, eh?
aye.
You know what I mean?
But then also
Uh,
you wonder at the same time because Amos I assumed was going to end up being away somewhere. I never thought the same about McCurdy because he's kind of been on the periphery. But the fact they didn't make the bench yesterday, I
I know,
wonder what
but
that says about him.
possibly. But you look at the bench. So Karevich is playing for the start. Bowie's on the bench, and we've rested Gale.
Hmm.
Where's the place for him? There's no space
True,
for him.
that's true.
No, because we've got them both of them back on the same week. I suspect if one of them wasn't available, then he might have been on the bench. But that's the thing. It's that's your top picks. Boyle started up
Aye,
there. You know.
that's a good point. I actually wasn't thinking about that when we were talking about McCurdy, but you're right. You've got Kukrevich and Bowie both coming back into the squad, both needing minutes more than McCurdy's needing them, so it made sense. I was about to point out that Mariah Welsh was missing for the subs bench as well, but we spoke about this on Friday and he was suspended, so I'm glad he wasn't on the subs bench because we probably would have got to bother for that if we tried to pick him.
Surely not. Now that person's away for the club.
Aye,
Not
I know.
in charge of the spreadsheet anymore.
I know. Aye, so I thought the bench just kind of gave us a wee bit of security. I think you've got like if we desperately needed it, you've got Campbell, Chiantis, Chris Cadden, and
Bursick
on there and Bursick. If push came to shove, that we could have, if we really needed to shift it up and lift the quality, we could have done it. But I mean, the game was dead comfortable anyway, really, wasn't it?
Aye.
The early goal. I'm sure, right? You could talk me through it, but I'm sure the early goal played a part in that comfort. Was it pretty much? It was 2 minutes, I think, we scored in.
Minute and a half.
Aye, so was it one of them when you've like pretty much straight for kick-off? How did it go? What was your thoughts overall, Matthew? You start.
Ball was chipped forward. I can't remember who chipped it forward, but the defender sort of misjudged it, and Hoyle got in behind him, hit the byline, cut it back, and Boyle just made a good run across the defender and knocked it in. I mean, it was really, really straightforward goal to score. I don't know if it was. This sounds stupid, right? Because in these games you want to score early and take the pressure off, but I thought it probably lifted the pressure off too much. And for the rest of that half, I thought we were trying to do things that you wouldn't normally do. Like, can players try to take on four men on a run, or they're always trying, like the World Cup pass, try to chip it in at the, to pinpoint onto somebody's head rather than whipping a cross in, and all these kind of things. And we suffered as a result of it in terms of the quality. We were just like really slow with how we did things. But I think that goal probably contributed to that.
That can happen sometimes when you score that early against a team who you're expected to probably give a bit of doing. It's almost like, oh, this is going to be as easy as I thought, but I was trying not to think about.
Aye.
And then you lose the momentum in the, because you think this is going to be easy. Anyway, what happened after the goal, first half? Was there anything you know? Anything you'd like to add, John? Was that it? We got a goal and then try to be too much. There was half time.
There wasn't much. Like it wasn't a niggly game, but there was definitely a couple of challenges that went in that were I thought were a wee bit unnecessary. Like Clydebank players on Hibs players. So Quan got a sore one. I think Miller got caught late a couple of times by a Clydebank player, and I think there was another one in the middle that started it all. But like I say, like it wasn't a dirty game. I think it was well fought, but there wasn't really much in the way of notable moments first half. And I think the opportunities that we had approaching Clydebank's 18-yarder, it was maybe just a slack pass, slightly overhit, or a wee bit more complicated than needed to be, like Matthew had suggested.
Molotnikov had a couple of good chances. Like he had a dribble and a shot that went just wide. He picked up the ball in the box and fired over. Boyle hit the post. I think he got flagged offside for it. He was played in. By the way, that linesman on that side, I think, had about 3 or 4 offsides that he put the flag straight up. Now, I know we've not got VAR, so they're not going to let the play run and then put the flag up.
Did we not have VAR yesterday?
Nah, I don't think so. I don't think they checked anything with VAR. Not that I was aware of anyway. But I thought the linesman gave Clydebank the benefit of the doubt at every available opportunity. It's one of these ones, but I reckon there was at least 2 times we went through.
Sympathy refereeing.
Aye, but we're nowhere close to being offside, and he put the flag up. But and they never really got a chance to reverse it because Clydebank didn't really get in our half the second half to trouble Smith. So there was a couple of
one chance overall, but it was high and wide. Like we were never in any danger at all. Like for as sort of few clear cut opportunities as we created, we never really allowed Clydebank anything either.
And we shouldn't have really, it should be like that. You're right, one shot off target they had in the whole game, John. I'm just checking the BBC there, but we should be in control of a game like that. Do you think the late tackles in that you're talking about, were they late because we're just quicker, right? And that's why they're Premier League in there in the league they're in. Because I'm sure these boys are talented. Like if we were to play fives against them, we wouldn't get near them, right? It's obviously down to like them being not fit enough or their attitude wasn't right or whatever at the time.
Surely you're not including yourself in that, Colin. You'd be on a par at least.
I'm 47 soon, right? But anyway, do you think it was they were late, like because they weren't quick enough, or do you think it was they were late because they were trying to make let us know they're there for the fight sort of thing? You know that put the boot in, sort of
I think
style stuff.
there was a wee bit of both. Like especially early on, I think less so as the game progressed and the fitness sort of plays more a part. But in the early exchanges, I think there was a bit of them making sure we knew we were in a game, which I
Yeah.
didn't mind. Like that, you
Yeah.
can't expect that, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. I'd be that's it to when we're even going and playing a derby, which isn't even a team that's better than us. Let them know we're there. So
It's funny.
no issues with it at all.
It's funny you talk about that. Like I don't remember exactly how I described it. I think I'd said that it wasn't a dirty game, but there were a couple of dodgy challenges first half. Um, and we were having a laugh about it between the three of us, me, Matty, and Greg, because I think Kwon within the first 30 seconds bundled a guy over, and we were having a laugh, like saying, "Oh, that's him trying to win the psychological battle early doors." And then later on, he did actually get on the receiving end of a sale one that I think on another day could have been red, but I think the sort of leniency that you're talking about with the referee, he wasn't want to spoil the afternoon.
Aye, and credit to the Hibs players in that moment as well, because we didn't go piling into the referee looking for a red card either. No, I noticed when Hearts were playing Brecon, that's who they played on Friday night. There was a challenge the boy went in for there, and fucking Craig Gordon was at his box and everything trying to get the boy sent off.
But he's a snidey cunt. He's a snidey
You're
cunt.
fucking playing Brecon, you know what I mean? Like, what you doing fucking trying to get the boy
But
sent off?
and they weren't even getting beat at that point.
No.
They were holding them to 0-0 at that time.
So I'm glad we had a bit more decorum and class about us than those cunts.
That's fair. Anyway, so first half pretty nondescript. You had a couple of shots, goal, a couple of bad tackles. Second half a wee bit better. When did we start making changes? Was it 60 minutes or something?
Well, we changed at half time, so there was actually subs made at half time. So Campbell had come on and
Cadden came on for
yeah,
Bashiri.
that's it. Yeah, Chris Cadden as well. Campbell came on for Kukovic, which was an interesting one. So you thought maybe Bowie would have come on for him for the whole half, but he came on a bit later.
Yeah.
We looked better right away. I mean, we missed the goal. Like I've obviously watched it back because it was on Sports Scene, but we were still in. I didn't even realise the second half had kicked off. You hear the roar. Our table was right next to the fucking door.
I normally get shouted, eh?
If it had any sort of hint that the game was about to kick off again, we could have been in our seat in about 10 seconds. So we missed the goal right at the start of the second half. But I watched it back. Good goal from Molotnikov. Cadden played Boyle and down the right. Boyle got to the byline, crossed it, and it's a lovely finish from Molotnikov. He loses, I think, left foot, just made sure it went in.
And then what was it? Was there a formation change there then? I'm thinking of that. Cadden's coming for Bashiri. The Cadden just going to a back three?
I think how that worked
Or drop
is
Miller
that
back into the back.
I think Ahora went central.
Yeah.
Miller back into the back three.
Yeah. And Cadden on the right.
Aye, cool. And then Bowie came on at 60 minutes with Amos as well. How did they go, John?
Bowie looked good, yeah. And that's obviously, sorry, that this is going to sound terrible. And we laughed about it at the time actually when Luke Amos and Kieran Bowie, they were a double substitution. But Amos was introduced and then it was Kieran Bowie. And you're like, oh, fucking poor boy.
Here's this boy off LinkedIn coming on. And then Bowie.
Right. By the way, he's open to work.
You can imagine just starting going, fucking thanks, Barry. Like, what about me?
But no, Amos did well. He pretty much replaced and did, I'd say, as good a performance as Levitt had in terms of receiving the ball and spreading the play. Bowie, he came on. I wasn't actually looking for him to do that much. I was more interested about how he was going to look, kind of getting about the grass, especially after reading about his recovery and his training and rehab plan, and how they were going to sort of monitor his minutes, etc. But he looked absolutely fine. He had one long run down to the byline, and then he's had a lovely wee bit of trickery where I don't know how exactly he's done it, but he's managed to nutmeg the Clydebank player, and I think I want to say that he squared the ball into the box, or the ball's come back his way and he's been fouled, but it was a really good bit of skill. And it was similar to the goal that he scored, when he sort of like backed into the boy and sort of turned and got the shot away. Similar to that, but with a wee bit trickery in there with the wee nutmeg. But they were both fine. They were both good.
I'm saying before that, I actually just thinking there that they came on at 60 minutes, but we got the third goal before then already as well, because Boyle came off and he got the third.
Yeah, just a cross in for the left. I think the defender gets a sort of half clearance on it, and the ball bounces, sits lovely for Boyle. He just I think that
He gets.
Amy Canavan described it as a slice, and it was probably right. He kind of sliced it into the net, but it sort of deliberately sliced it. It was a good
Uh,
finish.
he had a
Yeah.
lot of time. Like the ball seemed to sit for an age and allow him to sort of position himself and get the slice on it. But the goal's the goal.
He did well yesterday, Boyle, like to keep his sort of good running numbers going, like assists and goals, and um, I think this is like the sort of thing for a player like Boyle is each game when he contributes something, I think he gets better and better. He definitely is like that sort of confidence player that
Yeah.
I was glad he managed to sort of get that level of contribution in yesterday. He's been a very important player for us recently.
9
I
goals
did
away.
it.
They're getting 100 now as well for the
Aye.
club.
I purely by chance I saw something the other day and I forget who it was, but I want to say I think it's a Hibs related account on Twitter, and they were talking about Martin Boyle uh, being like second in the running for top modern day goal scorer. So I think he was at that point 13 behind Derek Riordan. So two yesterday's put him even closer.
Oh, really?
I think those games are the ones like you remember Simon Murray League Cup where I think he got was it 3 or 4, and he
Aye.
ended that season. I think our top scorer, despite having left in the January transfer window, like they're the kind of games that'll help you uh, make up that gap.
And so then we got the third goal in, we made those subs, Bowie looked all right. Anything happened in the last half hour? Obviously, the lad he got on, 16-year-old, so well
Mhm.
done to him. Lewis Gilly, that we mentioned already, came out 70 odd minutes.
He did well.
Aye.
I mean, loads of energy about him. We went into left back, combined well down the left hand side. I thought he looked uh, promising. You know, he looked not out of place at that level, given the level we were playing at on the day. I don't know if he's there's obviously a big jump from playing Clydebank when you're 3-0 up and at home in the Scottish Cup to starting Premier League games, but he certainly did himself justice. You know, like he didn't make any mistakes. Really, he contributed well. I thought he looked good.
Good for him.
I,
Sorry,
oh,
John.
sorry, I was just going to say I'd suggested sort of semi-jokingly that, or sorry, wondered aloud whether he was going to be this season's Rory Whittaker, and it's interesting because both of them are of similar ages, but I think Lewis Gilly looks a little bit more physically ready, but a bit more solid looking. Whereas Rory Whittaker, I think one of the things about him is that he was maybe looking a wee bit slight and looking more like a 16-year-old than Lewis Gilly did, and Gilly looked reasonably athletic and reasonably powerful at left back.
It's good. Left-sided defenders are kind of golden, eh? Like, look how hard it has been for us to get one. So hopefully that we may get more opportunities. Was there any sort of I assume there was a standout player. I seen who got man of the match at the ground, but was there any standouts for you that impressed you? And on the other hand, was there anybody that you thought would have expected more on the Hibs
Uh,
team?
so Molotnikov was, I think he got the man of the match at the ground. And I think that was the right decision. I think he was the standout player for us. Apart from that, I didn't really think we had. Oh, Iredale. I thought Iredale had a
Idle
great
good.
game. Aye, like
Yeah.
he really did. He was like in the first half. I would say Iredale was the only player playing a Premier League pace. Like he
Right.
wasn't taking extra touches on the ball. He wasn't taking any chances with players that were, like if he's having to defend, he was defending the situation. Was trying to be clever and thinking, it's only Clydebank. I can try and do something smart here. He defended like he would have if he was playing Rangers or Celtic or whoever. And I thought if everybody in the team had played at the level at Iredale in that first half, we would have absolutely obliterated them. I think he got the sort of attitude and the pace spot on. John, you mentioned Levitt having quite a good game. I thought Levitt was a wee bit disappointing. I thought Levitt and Kwon.
Let me see, right? Sorry, that what prompted the question, right? Because I've seen the highlights, which were a couple of minutes, right? And I'm looking at the team here and I'm thinking, somebody that's hardly played football, he got taken off at 63 minutes. That is a game where you would have expected him to be one of the best players, right? Centre midfielder against a team 5 levels below him and play the 90 because he needs the minutes, he needs the game. There's been a lot of clamour for folk coming into us on the phone in. Particularly Joe, but loads of people send us messages saying Levitt should be in the team, whether it be in the 10 or no, and talking him up. But then he's
I
playing
think he
against
took a
Clydebank
knock.
and he gets hooked.
I think he took a knock, which is why he came off. I think he asked, come in for Miller, whoever was on the ball, put the ball out so he could come off,
Right.
which is maybe why I never got to 90. But do you know what? He was tidy enough, Levitt. Like Levitt, he had a typical Dylan Levitt game where he's not really done much bad in the game. Like he's done a few good things, but that's an opportunity for him to be like the standout in the team.
Yeah.
And I just don't think he did it. I think he played the safe pass too often, slowed the game down a wee bit too much. I think he suffered from us not getting the ball to him an awful lot. I noticed it was Pretty Boy and Hibs.net had clocked David Gray shouting at the rest of the team to get the ball to him. Like they were just literally screaming Dylan
I've seen
Levitt,
that
Dylan
post actually.
fucking Levitt, you know. And so maybe it's a wee bit unfair on Levitt to judge him on it, but at the same time he wasn't demanding the ball and showing for it as much, and really in that position you're kind of wanting to do it. I actually thought Quan did far more to impact the game, like and got about the pitch far more than Levitt, but he was really ineffective as well. Quan, I think he's struggling for form now. John, what do you think, John? Who stood out on either side of the spectrum for you?
Well, you've already said Molotnikov and Iredale, and I would agree with that. Who else? I don't know if
It's
anyone
hard
else like
sometimes in these
properly
kind of
stood out.
games. When it's kind of just like knockabout pace, a wee bit pre-season friendly,
It was
maybe.
like a training game. Aye.
Aye.
I think you're right about Iredale and the pace that was being the pace that he was playing the game at, because I really liked the way that he was properly fizzing the ball into feet, especially because I think he linked up quite well with Molotnikov, and there seemed to be a real emphasis to get the ball to Molotnikov, whether it was to exploit what Molotnikov can do or whether it's because he was finding himself in quite a bit of space down the left hand side. Other players like I agree with you with what you're saying, like Quan. And I think this is why I'm reluctant to like hammer players at times because like I think your description of it like struggling for form at the moment. I agree with that. Like he's going through. He appears to be going through a bit of a hard time. What you were saying about Levitt, I was thinking that on what he did in the game, I thought was quite neat and tidy. I agree with that completely. And I don't know what the balance is between neat and tidy and trying to be too clever. I thought Levitt found the right balance of keeping the game moving, like getting the ball, bringing other players into the game, and trying to set up. He didn't set up Hibs attacks, but it kept the ball moving, it kept Hibs moving forward.
I tell you what he suffered from was a lack of movement in front of him a lot of the time. And I'm not sure if you put that down to Kukovic being like a less mobile striker or the fact that he's just back off an injury and so he's some way short sharpness as well. But there was quite often there wasn't necessarily like a good pass on for Levitt as well. I think the other thing to keep in mind as well is the objective of the day was to get through to the next round. Like David Gray's no setting team out to say, I want you to go and score 8 goals a day or 9 goals or, go and absolutely obliterate this team. It's right, make sure we're in the hat for the next round. We need to get minutes to Kukovic. We need to get Bowie on the pitch. We want to play the young laddie if we can get him on as well. Like all these objectives were ticked. And again, I'm sure it was on .net and it might even have been Stuart again that they made the post about Lewis Hamilton. I think it was Lewis Hamilton describing the your aim is to win a race in the slowest time possible. Like is if you can win the game as comfortably as you can, just make sure you tick all your objectives without putting everything on the line. That like we didn't want to risk any injuries, we didn't want to have any red cards, etc. Like all those kind of things. We ticked all those boxes, so it could be just be that the players controlled that game exactly as they wanted to control it, and as fans, we're looking for a 9 goal fucking thumping, and because we didn't get it, you go, oh, well, that was a wee bit underwhelming. But from a coach's perspective and the players' perspective, they're coming off going, fucking job done. That was like a really good, comfortable performance. Aye. And I didn't mind that. If that's what they've gone for, that's what they've done, then fair play to them.
As long as they pull off, that's the thing. Like, it could be
Aye.
when you then struggle through. Maybe you
And
got a goal down and you've got to battle to come back. Like,
aye. And that's where like we were talking about the early goal earlier on. Having that
aye.
inside, inside the second minute, then you're not having to. There's no panic in the game at all. Like there was never any jeopardy in the game. We weren't never looked like we weren't going to go through. So
Maybe we missed that. Maybe we need that a wee bit of
Aye.
jeopardy in every 90
That's,
minutes just to keep us
that's
on our
right.
toes.
Aye. So is that anything else to add on the game? I've got the YouTube comments in that open here if you want me to start rattling through some of them, or
Aye,
you go.
go for the YouTube. I was just about to go through them, so you can kick them off, Colin.
Jay and Sandy was first with after Dan, who said good evening, all high bees. But how's it
Dan.
Kevin? How's it Kevin Thompson says it?
High Bees with a Z.
IBs.
Aye.
I'm a High Bees fan.
Aye. So Jay and Sandy can't comment on the match. The powers that be did not allow Hibs TV to broadcast it, and it wasn't chosen by Premier Sports or BBC. Do you not think it's a disgrace? No question mark on that, Jay and Sandy. But he followed up by saying, anyhow, great result. I swear our name's on the cup this year. I can almost taste it for 150th year. That's a funny one, eh? That's a funny change. And it was a we'll get relegated in 150th year. We win the championship in 150th
They
year.
were winning the cup. See,
Lovely.
on the televised point, I agree with him. Like, I get the logic with who was it said it that somebody mentioned about wanting to get the fans in the ground for it.
Aye, somebody said that in the comments, yeah. I'll go to that.
Ronnie, I think it was. I see your point about Hibs TV if it was an away time, a limited ticket allocation.
Yeah. But the thing is though, mate, that it's not meant to be accessible to UK audience, right? So what they've done there is deprive it for our overseas.
For the folk who wouldn't have been there anyway. But I've said it long enough. Televise all the fucking games. Put them on.
I know.
It doesn't like all the games in England are on the telly, like, and they get sellouts all the time during the Premier League. And what was the Old Firm game that was played 3 o'clock, and was it the 2nd of January?
2nd of January, yeah.
So they showed that live at 3 o'clock when all the other games were on.
And we still sold it at St Johnstone end in the bit.
One of the highest attended games in Scottish football that weekend. So I don't know if the evidence stacks up that your ticket sales are going to suffer if you show the game on the TV. So if I can put them all on.
But it looks like, I think Kieran posted during the week it wasn't going to be accessible because they've not got the broadcast rights, which is the official answer. But Aberdeen had their game on Aberdeen TV, as did Motherwell St Johnstone was on available yesterday as well. So I'm not really sure if the broadcast rights thing stacks up or it's we're not paying for the broadcast rights because we want to get more in the ground because there was obviously a lot of noise about the attendance before the game, and it was actually 11,500 in the end.
Aye, and a very healthy Clydebank support as well. It was kind of, without being patronising, it was quite good seeing them all piling off the train and coming and making a day of it.
But you still got 9,000 Hibs fans there.
Yeah.
You know, and anyway, enough on that. I kind of agree. It should have been on the telly. It wasn't on the telly, but we're not meant to get it in the UK. But for, I think it's Gilky Hibs that's abroad. He was spewing over there that Hibs TV wasn't on streaming. Back to the dark days of listening to football on the radio. Good to see some youngsters on the pitch. Feel good factor and optimism growing. Haley Young says, "Can't believe we beat Cowdenbeath in the Scottish Cup final. What an achievement!"
that was a great. Obviously, we were joking about it, and Barry announced the Cowdenbeath substitution, and then went and corrected himself. But I was getting the blame for that. I noticed that on it wasn't even a thread that I was contributing to on Facebook, and somebody put, "Oh, it was like Matty Fairney." I was like, we were getting the blame for the whole Cowdenbeath thing. So sorry about that, Barry. If we've inadvertently tripped you up there.
Subconsciously listening to that when he's getting his sound check done in the morning. Dan enjoyed the game. He said Clydebank were awful though. Nice day out for them. You just know we're getting Wraith in the next round. Hanlon, Stevenson, Dabrowski, Stanton, etc. I watched a bit of that game earlier. Actually, I don't know if you caught any of that. One of your friends scored the winning goal.
I saw him just when he pulled up outside. He was looking delighted.
I'm sure. He looked delighted when he was in the goalie's face when he scored as well.
See stuff like Dabrowski, Hanlon, Stevenson, or whoever else it might happen to be that used to play for Hibs. Like, does that sort of stuff matter anymore? Having won the trophy in 2016, are we bothered about the sort of the stuff that could bite you in the arse?
I don't think this mean it. I don't think this. Sorry, John. I'm not trying to change your point. I don't think Dan's saying that in a negative way. I think it's just more that like they've got that many Hibs players. It's one of these cup stories. Like you get, like they've just left their legends and all that, rather than they're going to come back. It's definitely a Hibs thing to do. That's not how it's written. Certainly, it might mean that, but
they both have to feign injury. By the way, if they do get drawn against us, they can't fucking play against us. That just it's bad enough seeing them in Wraith strips without.
Get attacking on that left hand side.
Aye.
That's what we need to get Boyle on them, and they'll put a bits. Anyway, right. Ronnie Farmer, you mentioned him. Ian mentioned the non-existent bow and arrow. John McDunn says evening.
Evening.
Ian's also asking how was your hospitality. I think you covered that. Here you go. Riordan got 104 goals for Hibs.
Oh, was it 104? I thought it was 102 on
well,
the wee tally that I'd seen.
Aye, that might be right. Craig might be
I,
right.
it's
don't
not,
know.
to be fair, like it doesn't make that much difference. It just means that Boyle's got to get an extra couple of goals to properly cement his place as the modern top goal scorer.
Jason Ladd, I doubt anybody on the fringes made a big claim to start, which is disappointing on that score. Maybe Rudi did, wasn't at the game. And Gilkey Hibbs is just saying he was up at 4 a.m. in New Zealand to watch or listen, lol, to the game. You think the price of Hibs TV, the arrangements could be made to stream it live? I think it is quite costly for the overseas now. It used to be. I used to think it's quite cheap, but I don't think it is anymore. I think they have bumped it up, and yet they're not giving the game. So not great for the overseas guys or for anybody that was ill in the house, hoping to maybe
Here's
be
a
able to catch
question
it.
for you, right? I had this argument on Hibs Night. Can you talk about die-hard fans, right? See these guys that are over the other side of the world, they're getting up at 4 a.m. in the morning. 4 a.m. I'm not saying 4 a.m. in the morning because that annoys me. There's at least one part of that sentence is unnecessary, right? They're up at 4 a.m. to watch Hibs.
Mhm.
Would you call him a die-hard supporter?
Well, I don't know what's the definition of die hard. I mean, obviously getting up at 4 in the morning to watch it
See,
is
I would.
pretty.
I would
Yeah.
say that's like fucking committed. Like if you're supporting your team and going to those lines for the other side of the fucking world to do it,
Yeah.
somebody scoffed at the idea because they're not at the game. I
Are
said it was
you?
fucking.
But I was going to be deliberately controversial and say, are you that much of a diehard if you've left the country, if you didn't have a season ticket
Somebody on
anymore, if you're not
Hibs.net said
going?
that.
But
Somebody on
what if
Hibs.net
you're
said exactly that. Didn't move a minute.
what if you're born over there? You know, whatever you brought up, your family's moved over, you've no
True.
choice in it, or you can folks' work situations and all the rest of it. I think like the folk there are almost more committed than some of the folk. No, more committed than the home and away guys, right? I mean, I'm no questioning any of these guys that put the hard yards in, but
Yeah.
Ken, there's folk there that could have gone yesterday that didn't bother, because it's Clydebank in the cup and better things today on a Saturday is not included in the season ticket, and you've got guys getting up at 4 in the morning to watch it, and you're going, that for me, that's a diehard. Like I you wouldn't even fucking think about questioning their support.
It's maybe not as, in fact, I'm going to say it's not as black and white as you're a diehard Hibby or you're not, because we know that there are, like, we've met people through having done the podcast. There's Niall who stays in the Republic, and I think he's got like a 3 hour drive after he gets off the plane to get back to where he lives, and he's coming over
Aye,
here, and he was doing in Birmingham, etc. So there's loads of people that are like
Jeff in
that.
the Lakes.
And we've got
Yeah,
to
Jeff
be.
and
Oh,
Alex.
that's right, Jeff. And we've got a lot of folk. I mean, Vince is in America. He's up watching all the games.
Mhm.
I think he was over, but there's loads of. We've got listeners all over the place, and these guys are up, and they probably engage as much as folk that live here because they're that invested in it,
Aye.
and they're so far away. They're trying to keep touch. Message anyway. Only a different debate there. That's one for extra time or something.
Aye, oh, I was just curious, just because.
Aye.
Aye, go for it.
We've got one here for one of your female listeners. Hello, the female listeners. Tess Rose Askew says one of those games where it should have been, should have shown the golfing difference in teams, but due to a couple of players that didn't. Comfortable win once the second went in. Rudy, absolutely man of the match. Superb fighting performance from him. Nice that another youngster got his debut at Easter Road. There's a few about who we'll get in the next round. Maybe come back to that at the end. Kevin C. Brown says workman like at times, often puffed plenty. Speed of play was so slow. Suited them, gave them time to get behind the ball. Lack of quality crossing, particularly Miller. He was poor for the most part. Rudy and Jack Iredale really positive throughout. So that's, well, the positive there covered what you're saying. Graham Brown saying Ken Boyle hit 100 this season. Adam, how poor Quan and Miller were against opposition like Clydebank. Was Miller not great yesterday? It's coming across here a few of the comments. This is for the
Miller
Twitter stuff, I should say.
Aye, Miller got slated for his first half performance, and they said he was better second half. I actually thought Miller's greatest sin in the first half was trying to do too much. Like he was one of the ones that was like, I've got 4 defenders in front of me. I'm going to try and fucking beat them all. And he got caught out a few times losing the ball as a result, or just his decision making wasn't great. But the second half, I thought he was fine. The other thing I noticed about Miller is they took him out off the ball, I think, 3 times in the first half. As he was running back towards his own goal, somebody just went and wiped him out. So,
Yeah.
I
I'm just laughing there at Bandy Legs' next comment. I'm always a bit worried when I see an opposition keeper carrying an extra few pounds. In general, good to see the fat lads represented on the pitch. He thought Rudi played well, but thought he could have played the earlier ball a couple of times, and happy to see another promising youth. I think you mentioned players maybe taking an extra touch and
Aye.
stuff. And I guess in a game like that, it's especially when you've not had many minutes, he's obviously keen to make an impression because they've kept him. They're not putting him out on loan like all his peers. He's trying to make the most of the minutes he gets to stay there and actually get in the team. But there's
Aye.
a balance. It's like still about doing the right thing, isn't it? Rather than like
It could have been that. It could also have just been the fact that he's not played for a few months, and I think anyone
Aye.
that's ever played football, like when you're not playing regularly, like some things that you wanted, like the brain's doing something at your feet, are just like a millisecond behind. But
Yeah.
otherwise, like we're talking about, not playing a pass as quickly or whatever, but his close ball control and his ability to drop the shoulder and get beyond a Clydebank player, like a opposition, you've got relativity going on there, but what he did well. There were some more clinical things that could have been better, but I'm not going to take away from his overall performance for that.
That's good. I just think that, and he's a young player. Sometimes in the younger teams, you can get away with a bit more, bit of be greedy and stuff. But hopefully that'll, he only got away with that in the bigger games. And I'm talking here, not seeing this game. I'm just saying, like, just from
Aye.
watching previous stuff. Scott Mix, good to see a few players coming back from injury, but proves how thin our squad is. Need 3 or 4 reinforcements this month to help the depth and get Quan and Bursick sent back to their clubs. They aren't offering anything on the pitch. I think we've covered how many replacements we need, and I think the
Aye.
bench looked stronger yesterday because it was 3, 4, 5 first teamers there rather than
Yeah.
bodies. There's a few more about the draw. Callum, CMA, professional performance, not much more to be said. Interesting Amos got minutes, given that he said he wants to leave. Bryce Quan started as well. Don't see the point. Good minutes for Bowie. Nice to see Molotnikov back and scoring. It's kind of just backing up a lot of what you guys said. I think everybody, there's probably not that much to say. So thanks to everybody that sent some in. I don't know if you've got the Blue Sky ones there. If not,
I've got some on Blue Sky. There's a couple of so John McGlynn on YouTube comments with this is reminder for everybody to hit the like button as well. So if you're watching this now, in fact, you definitely will be watching this now if you're hearing me saying this. That was again another time where I've said something completely redundant. There's loads of you watching just now. If you all hit the like button while you're watching, that does us a big favour with how YouTube recommends our videos to other folks. So if you wouldn't mind, please hitting that wee like button. It would be much appreciated. I will get the talking points. Here we go. So on Blue Sky, we had other John said, as routine a win as you will see. Next round, tick. Clean sheet, tick. Minutes for Bowie, tick. Youngster wins man of the match, tick. And Boyle keeps scoring, tick. Special mention for Lewis Gilly. Dream come true moment, and he fitted in well. And Dunfermline at home would be a good tie. James Morrison said, SFA open up the pyramid a bit so clubs like Clydebank can get up the leagues. Hibs, why was Chanta's bench? Looks like Sir David Gray is very committed to back 3 now. Draw anything shite at home. Hearts, question mark. I would just like to say I'd quite like to avoid Hearts early in the cup. If we were going to get them, I would take them at home.
absolutely.
I'd rather somebody else knocks them out and we can fucking laugh without having to worry about it. No, that
We've got
wouldn't
somebody
be.
here on YouTube, Linda Graham, another female listener. Hello,
Yep.
female listeners. Her pal goes to all the games home and away, travelling from here. So United would be good for him. I think so. No, for me, like no, the way I think they were 8-0 yesterday, or something like that.
Aye, here's Scott Brown's team, isn't it?
That's
Aye, he's doing well there. I wonder, do you see him as potentially a prospect for Hibs manager down the line?
if he carries on doing impressing like that, of course it would be. But that would be a step up for him. That'd probably be something he'd maybe look at, unless he's thinking about skipping even higher. But yeah, I would say so. Bit of debate on YouTube about the travelling.
Aye, go for it. Read a couple.
Okay, Hibs back again. Johnny, he's calling you Johnny.
Johnny.
Aye, I'd gladly stay. I've stayed in Scotland, but I had to please the missus. She's a Kiwi, so it was a struggle giving up the season ticket to head over the pond. Early kickoffs are a cunt, though. He did, to be fair, Gilkey he did not say the word cunt in his thing. He put a apostrophe in there, but I just thought, no,
But
we're
you
allowed to
can't
say
be
it.
silenced.
Yeah.
Colin will not be censored.
And Greent, who's one of your members, you can see the members there for those that are watching with the yellow wee long bangers
Green
thing.
tea.
After.
I would call it green tea. Did you call it green?
Aye, green tea, because he's not put a T capital at the end or anything. No. So I will go green tea. Okay, green. No, I like green. If you could just comment green and tell us what's right. He says he's got a friend in Oz who's not missed getting up in the middle of the night to watch Hibs and then had to go to work. Definitely a diehard. So yeah.
I think green tea is one of our female listeners as well, Colin.
Is it?
I think so. I think one of us has both assumed an agenda there, but
Super.
I think green tea's.
I'm in a household of females. The more females that listen, the better. Aye, the better. Well, I get a hard time in here, so maybe the more females we get, the harder the time will get. I don't know. I don't know how it works.
So you should.
Are you saying that there's more women listen to the podcast and listen to you than there are at home? Just reading between the lines.
Definitely. As long as there's one. That's me. Have you got Blue Sky? Stuff, have you done
Blue
that?
Sky, we've only had a couple on, and we're still quite quiet on old Blue Sky. Another thing is, as we found out, is that when we win and there's nothing really to talk about, our comments are much down on when we're doing
Definitely.
well.
So there was a few comments that I never done because they were around about who we would want in the next round, and I suppose it's maybe is it time to we could talk about that before we wrap up. I suppose.
Yeah, go for it.
So what would be your thoughts on who we get in the next round? What would be your preference, or what would you want to avoid?
John, you want to go first?
I've actually got the list here if you want me to read out the possible opponents, because I had a look at the SFA website earlier. So it's Hearts, Ayr, Cove, Celtic, Airdrie, Dunfermline, Aberdeen, Hamilton, St Mirren, Queen's Park, Livingston, Johnston, Wraith, or Rangers. I think I would like to get someone like Dunfermline or Airdrie. The obvious one I think out of that list is probably Cove in terms of relative ease, if you want to call it that. But I didn't want it to be too easy. I want like a sort of steady test building us up for the final.
Fuck that.
Or Cove at home is what I would say. Like,
Cove
I didn't mind like if we get Dunfermline home or away because it's an easy one for me to get to if it's an away one. So yeah, I would go easiest tie possible at home. So I think that's Cove
always.
out of that, and then just try to progress. And then what you want really is for either Rangers and Celtic to hit each other early on, or for one of them to play Hearts.
Yes,
and Aberdeen
and that's
to get another again.
Aye, absolutely. Cannon Hannon's kind of on that thing here. He said home against Cove, Airdrie, Hamilton, or Queen's Park. Lees, but the Uglies will get two of them, which is probably fucking true, right? So there's two they'll get. That'll be your Premier Sports massive matches in it. The next
sorry. Obviously, one of the other ones that I've missed out would be Dundee or Dundee United. They weren't on the list because they play tomorrow.
I'd rather avoid them. Yeah, as well. I'd avoid any Premier League teams as long as we can. Is my thinking, and the slow build up. It's the same every round. By the way, even when we get to the semi-finals, it's the easiest tie. Not at home, but the easiest tie. Every round before that's the easiest tie at home. Always. Because the slow build-up thing doesn't really equate because the games are a month apart and you've got to then go and play Rangers, Celtic, Aberdeen in between that. So that'll build you up for it. And IMO. Fuck, this username's a bit mental. NIXXM __ ILL. He says, or she says, I don't know. Hearts, please. I need reassurance. Steve McGowan, home draw. And there was another couple actually, and I'm just trying to skim through them as we talk. Read that one out. Can't find them. I'm just blabbing now. There we go. Chris, home draw against Cove, please.
I think maybe another reason why I'd maybe want to not have. Sorry, if like anyone on the list, possibly with the exception of Celtic or Rangers, to give us the best opportunity to progress further, I'd probably not want to have the easiest tie in the competition, but not make it as difficult as possible to avoid a scenario like we had yesterday where it's like, well, we should be beating them 8-0, we should be beating them 12-0. Whoever it is, and I look at the list and most of the teams there, I think, we can probably beat them. So that's what I'm looking for. I feel like we can progress.
Oh,
Okay,
I think that's all the comments.
just last couple on YouTube before we wrap up then. So Green Tea says, yes, Matthew, I am female and it's green tea. So with confirmation. Jason said Cove Hunt easiest. Craig said away days in the Scottish Cup are some of the best times supporting Hibs. Dunfermline away. It is like, especially if you go to somewhere where you didn't normally get a decent allocation. You know, like if you're Parkhead or Ibrox and you get like that sort of, because there's a minimum allocation they have to give you, so you get to take a big crowd through. Definitely, you do have some good away days in the Scottish Cup.
Do Dunfermline still have a plastic pitch?
I think so.
I've not been to East End Park for a couple of years now. I think the last time I was there, what's his name? Adam. Oh, who was the defender? Adam scored an overhead kick. I think it was a pre-season friendly when, was it Jack Ross or was it Heckenball? So that's how long ago it was.
We used to play pre-season
regularly. Adam Jackson, that was it.
Yeah. We used to be every pre-season pretty much we would have a.
I suppose League Cup's fucked that.
Yeah.
Because we used to be able to have all the ones about, was it the league games? Oh man, that the steward didn't know letting you in, and then they're running out of pies because they didn't expect that many to come over every fucking time. You go, how can you not expect it every time?
Nonsense. Stuart said no way at Old Firm because they need to let in away fans. Jason says Dunfermline or Wraith would be great. Mark said, even though I guess I've turned up a wee bit late. Sorry, Mark, we're literally just wrapping up. Sandy said, how about Livingston? Livingston, did they get through today?
They beat Ross County.
Live at home. I take Live at home. I want to go to fucking Almonville. It's a fucking shite ground, a shite pitch, and Martindale's still in charge today, so it's going to be a shite game. So get them Easter Road, fine. Then they want Live away if we can.
Did you see the penalty they got yesterday?
No.
Fucking hell.
Is that when the boy sticks his arm up?
Aye, the edge of the 18-yard box, just a free kick, floated in, wasn't any danger. Boy's just jumped up and tipped it away like it's like he's trying to block a, like somebody, I don't know, somebody's shooting a basketball and he's up there just trying to tip it away so they can't get in the net. Fucking mental. What are you doing?
Mental. Aye, it's mental. Dave said anyone at Easter Road. Aye. Anyone easy at Easter Road, that's kind of where I'm going.
You want to avoid Rangers and Celtic in that.
Aye.
Definitely.
Because the very least you want to get to Hampden, Like if you get to a semi-final, get a Hampden trip in, and then try. You've got a shout at the final. Then ideally you want to go all the way and win it. That's stating obvious, but
I'm very much in the camp.
You want a semi.
Let somebody else beat Rangers and Celtic. That's what the folk always say. Well, you need to beat them sometime. No, you didn't. Like somebody else might beat them.
Aye. John, were you laughing at the minimum was you want a semi? I was like, I'm going to say it because I know I'll get an action for somebody, and I'm glad you never let me down. Linda said, Livy, no decent pubs to go to, so not them. And Andrew says, nah, you don't want Hearts now. I spot on, Andrew, you don't. Right, we will call it a night there. We'll be back for subscribers tomorrow with extra time. We've not picked the topic yet, so if anybody really wants us to talk about something, you can get in touch on Twitter or Blue Sky, and we'll consider it. Again, hit the like button. So if you're watching this after and it's not live anymore and you've not hit the like button yet, please do that. And if you're not already a subscriber on YouTube, please go and subscribe as well. Phone in on Thursday if you want to join in with that. Keep an eye out on Patreon and YouTube for the dial-in details. Anybody's welcome for that. Just to reiterate, we don't handpick the folk that come onto the phone in. We literally put the phone in details out, and then whoever wants to join is more than welcome to join. We put it where the subscribers are because we want to make sure there's no interlopers trying to kind of come in and sabotage it, as we used to sometimes get when we did the Twitter Spaces. So you're more than welcome to come and join in on the phone in on Thursday. And longbangers@gmail.com if you've got a team that you want us to include in our preview show on Friday. Right, Colin, John, thanks very much for your time.